The U.S. State Department had organized a luncheon with Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, also being in attendance. It was headed by Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who hosted the luncheon for the Indian Prime Minister at the State Department. Modi, the Prime Minister, said that both countries had embarked on a beautiful journey of collaboration in the fields of defense and emerging technologies. He also thanked Kamala Harris and Secretary Blinken for the grand welcome that was accorded to him.
To the enduring bonds between our nations and our people, and to our continued work together, all in the service of the greater good. Prime Minister. Cheers.
You should know that Marwan credits his mother as his earliest culinary inspiration, and I think we're all about to be very inspired by what she gave to him and he's now about to give to us. It's been 30 years, Prime Minister, since you visited this country through a State Department exchange program. You said that experience showed you, and I quote, the dreams of the American people and the boldness of their ambitions. In your address to our Congress yesterday, you highlighted the boldness of India's own ambitions, the remarkable advances that your country has made in recent years, expanding free medical care, empowering women, harnessing clean energy. The positive impact in the lives of the Indian people is immeasurable, and it will be lasting. And it underscores that these aspirations for a better future are ones that we share, and ones that we depend upon each other to help realize. That's why when President Eisenhower became the first American president to visit India, he told your parliament that the welfare of America is bound up with the welfare of India. Over the past several decades, the United States and India have been advancing the vision of greater interdependence, brought closer by administrations of different parties in both of our countries. Having worked for President Biden for over 20 years, I know that his belief in this partnership is long-standing and his commitment to delivering on its promise is unwavering. And during the last 2.5 years, we've transformed the relationship between our countries. We are working closer together on more issues than ever before. From semiconductors to space, from education to food security, the energy, ambition, and potential of our cooperation is boundless. The United States and India have become, as the Prime Minister has put it, indispensable partners. And that partnership, President Biden has said, is a defining relationship of the 21st century. Together, we're promoting greater peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific and around the globe, combating disease, responding to natural disasters, strengthening the maritime security, standing up for the principles at the heart of the United Nations Charter. We're working to safeguard our planet for future generations, developing affordable solar panels and sustainable aviation fuels. We're driving opportunity and innovation, from the entrepreneurs powering our economies to the U.S. companies investing in India and vice versa. And the cutting-edge research that we're jointly advancing, from quantum to artificial intelligence, is helping to sustain our technological edge and shaping a digital future that safeguards democratic values. Here in the United States, India is part of our daily lives. We enjoy Jhumpa Lahiri's novels over samosas. We laugh at the comedies of Mindy Kaling. We dance to the beats of Diljit at Coachella. And yes, Mr. Prime Minister, and I can say this from personal experience, we keep ourselves more or less fit and healthy doing yoga. The United States is endlessly enriched by our thriving Indian diaspora. Doctors, teachers, engineers, business leaders, public servants, almost all of whom, it seemed, were on the White House lawn yesterday to greet you. And so many of whom are here with us today. Leaders, of course, like Vice President Harris, whose mother came from Kamala. Coming here to help unlock the secrets of cancer. Or diplomats right here at the State Department, where a man whose father came to America with just a bus ticket and $14 in his pocket rose to become the first United States Indian American ambassador to India. And today, Richard Rahul Verma serves as the Deputy Secretary of State. The highest-ranking Indian American official in the department's history. And, Mr. Prime Minister, that ultimately is maybe the strongest bond that unites us. As you glimpsed in your earliest travels here, whether we call it the American dream, whether we call it the Indian dream, whether it's the son of an immigrant from Jalandhar rising through the State Department, or a tea seller becoming Prime Minister, our people believe profoundly in opportunity. That no matter who we are or where we come from, we can make something more of ourselves. So, please join me in raising a glass to our shared hopes for the future and to the U.S.-India partnership that will help make those hopes a reality. Cheers.
Mr. Secretary, Madam Ryan, thank you for hosting us here yet again. It is the honor of Doug and mine to be with you, honoring the friendship and the importance of the relationship between India and the United States. Prime Minister Modi, we are honored to welcome you. We also welcome the members of the President's Cabinet who are here and all of the members of Congress who are here, including Speaker Emerita Pelosi, Chairman McCall, and Ranking Member Meeks. And welcome to all of our distinguished guests. As I look around this room, I am struck by the extraordinary impact Indian Americans have had on our country in every facet of life. Take, for example, the historic number of members of the United States Congress with Indian heritage. Representatives Ami Bera, if you're here, please stand. Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, Raja Krishnamurthy, and Sri Danda. And they're known as the Samosa Caucus, for those of you who did not know. And around our country, we see the impact of Indian Americans from the C-suites of American companies to neighborhood businesses, from the studios of Hollywood to university research labs across our country. So as many of you know, India is a very important part of my life. When my sister Maya and I were growing up, our mother would take us from the Bay Area to India pretty much every other year. And the purpose of those trips were many, including that we would well understand where she came from, what produced her, so that we could spend time with our grandparents, with my uncle and our chittis, and to really understand the love of good idli. And we traveled to visit my grandparents in what was then called Madras. And I will tell you, my grandfather was one of the most favorite people in my life, truly. We were pen pals, in fact, throughout my childhood. And I was the eldest grandchild. And so, as I'm sure many of you know, culturally, to be the eldest has a certain significance. And so I took full advantage of that status in our family. And my grandfather, of course, convinced me, as he did, I think, every one of his grandchildren, that we were his favorite. Yet, on those visits, I was the only member of our family that my grandfather allowed to join him for his morning routine. You see, by the time that we were going there as children, my grandfather was retired from his career as a civil servant. And his morning routine, every morning, consisted of taking long walks on the beach with his retired buddies. and they, as retired civil servants, would debate the issues of the day. So I would hold my grandfather's hand on these walks and listen intently to him and his friends. And I will tell you, as a young girl, I don't think I fully appreciated the essence and the import of the debates that they would have. But I did clearly understand and do recall stories about the freedom fighters and the nation's founding heroes, and about the independence of India. I remember them talking about the importance of fighting corruption and fighting for equality, regardless of one's belief or caste. Throughout these walks, I recall my grandfather teaching me lessons about not just what it means to have a democracy, but to keep a democracy. And I do believe it is these lessons that I learned at a very young age that first inspired my interest in public service. And I look back now, and I do fully realize how much these conversations influenced me and my thinking, and how they have guided me ever since.
Vice President Kamala Harris, Second Gentleman Douglas Amhoff, Secretary of State, my friend Antony Blinken, White House Cabinet Secretary एवन राय, सभी सम्मानित प्रतिनिधिगण, फ्रेंड्स, सबसे पहले तो मैं उपराष्ट्रपति कमला हैरिस और सेक्रेटरी ब्लिंकन का इस भव्य स्वागत के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं। आप दोनों ने जो गर्मजोशी भरे शब्द कहे, इसके लिए भी मैं हृदय से आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आज एक बार फिर स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट में आप सभी के बीच उपस्थित होना मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है। पिछले 3 दिनों में मैंने अनेक बैठकों में हिस्सा लिया, कई विषयों पर चर्चा की। इन सभी बैठकों में एक चीज कॉमन थी, सब एक मत थे कि भारत और अमेरिका के लोगों के बीच मित्रता एवं सहयोग और गहरा होना चाहिए। भारत और अमेरिका के संबंधों की मधुर गीतमाला पीपल टू पीपल टाइज के सुरों से पिरोई गई है। इन संबंधों का उदाहरण हमें कदम कदम पर देखने को मिलता है। उपराष्ट्रपति कमला हैरिस की माताजी डॉक्टर श्यामला गोपालन 1958 में भारत से अमेरिका आई थी। उस समय अधिकांश लोगों के पास फोन नहीं होता था और इसलिए उनकी माताजी हाथ से लिखकर अपने परिवारजनों को पत्र भेजा करती थी और उन्होंने कभी भी भारत से रत्ती भर नाता टूटने नहीं दिया था। एक जीवंतता बनाए रखी थी। जो भी उपलब्ध माध्यम था, उसका सर्वाधिक उपयोग भारत को, उनके अमेरिका के जीवन को निरंतर जोड़ने में लगा रहा था। हजारों मीलों की दूरी के बावजूद भी भारत हमेशा उनके करीबी था। मैडम वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, उनकी इस प्रेरणा को आपने आज नई बुलंदियों तक पहुंचाया है। आपकी उपलब्धियां केवल अमेरिका की ही नहीं, भारत और पूरे विश्व की महिलाओं के लिए बहुत बड़ी प्रेरणा है, बहुत प्रेरित करती है। सेक्रेटरी ब्लिंकन, जब मैंने प्रारंभ में सूर और गीतमाला जैसे शब्दों का प्रयोग किया तो मेरा एक इशारा आपकी तरफ भी था। पूरा विश्व आपकी डिप्लोमेटिक स्किल्स को तो जानता ही है और मैं तो भली भांति जानने लगा हूं। आपके म्यूजिकल टैलेंट के चर्चे भी बहुत है। हजारों मीलों का सफर तय करते हुए गंभीर से गंभीर मसलों के बीच संगीत को आपने जगह दी है। यह हम सभी के लिए बहुत प्रेरक है। हमारी स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को मजबूत करने में आपका बहुत महत्वपूर्ण योगदान है। इसके लिए मैं आपको हृदय से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, 2014 में मेरी यात्रा के समय मेरे प्रिय मित्र राष्ट्रपति बाइडेन भी यहां स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट में मेरे साथ थे। उस समय उन्होंने भारत और अमेरिका की साझेदारी को अ प्रॉमिस ओवर द होराइजन बताया था। 9 वर्षों के इस अंतराल में हमने बहुत ही लंबी और खूबसूरत यात्रा की है। हमने डिफेंस और स्ट्रेटेजिक क्षेत्रों में आपसी सहयोग के नए आयाम जोड़े हैं। हम नई और उभरती टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में नए विश्वास के साथ काम कर रहे हैं। हम ट्रेड के लंबित और मुश्किल मुद्दों का समाधान कर रहे हैं। क्वाड और I2U2 जैसे नए फ्रेमवर्क के साथ हम मिलकर के बहुत कुछ प्रगति कर रहे हैं। धरती हो या आकाश, समुद्र की गहराइयां हो या अंतरिक्ष की ऊंचाइयां, भारत अमेरिका एक साथ काम करते दिख रहे हैं। सही मायने में प्रॉमिस ओवर द होराइजन आज न तो प्रॉमिस तक सीमित है और न ही होराइजन तक सीमित है। आज हम जिस मुकाम पर पहुंचे हैं, जिन उपलब्धियों पर हम गर्व कर रहे हैं, आप सबके सपनों और अथक मेहनत का परिणाम है। इसके लिए मैं आप सभी का हृदय से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं। फ्रेंड्स, on this note, I would like to raise a toast to your good health and well-being, to our friendship and to the peace and prosperity of all our citizens. Thank you.